Hi, my name is Alex, and today I'd like to give a demo of helmtk. helmtk is a toolkit I created recently to try to make Helm chart development and maintenance a little bit easier. Its main feature is a structured template language, which can compile into a Helm template. It also provides a test framework to make testing quick and easy, a decompiler for automatically importing existing Helm charts, IDE support for VS Code and online playground, and other nice features. So what is this structured template language and why might it be useful? Helm templates use a text-based template language to generate YAML configuration, which describes Kubernetes resources. Because whitespace is significant in YAML, chart developers must carefully maintain the indentation level and whitespace in their chart templates. For example, if we look here at this code, we see a common pattern, which is that whitespace leading up to an included template is removed, and the nindent function is used to adjust the indentation level of the included content. We see other common defensive patterns in this code, such as ensuring that string values are always run through the quote function, and we often see that control flow blocks such as define or for or if aren't indented in the template because that might make maintaining the correct indentation level more complicated. And unfortunately, that leads to templates that are harder to read and understand. So the helmtk language is a structured template language, which means that it generates structured data and not text. And this is a good fit for Helm templates because Helm charts are almost always generating structured data. The whitespace is not significant in helmtk language. So developers don't need to worry about maintaining the indentation level in their charts, and that allows code to be nicely indented to make them more readable. And there are some other nice features of this language, like having clear object and array delimiters, not having to track the current meaning of dot, the current context, because values are named more explicitly. No quirks from YAML, like yes being converted to a Boolean, and so on. So helmtk can evaluate this template directly to data, just like Helm would. And in fact, you can try that in the playground here. If you switch to the evaluated output, and let's say you have on the left here is some helmtk template, and in the middle you have the values. We can change the values and see that the generated data on the right is updated. But one of the main features of helmtk is that it can compile into a Helm template. So why is this useful? Well, there's an existing deeply rooted ecosystem built around Helm charts. And if you're maintaining a public Helm chart, you can't just have all of your users switch to a different tool. So the benefit of the helmtk compile command is that chart maintainers can get the benefits of the helmtk language without needing to disrupt their existing users and ecosystem. So the helmtk compile command would compile this template up here into this Helm chart template code. This is Helm template code here. And the test suite helps make sure that all of these templates generate the same output. So the helmtk test command can run a test suite written in small JavaScript functions. It can run it against the original Helm chart. It can run it against the directly evaluated helmtk data, and it can also run it against the compiled Helm chart. And the decompile command helps convert existing charts into helmtk using an LLM server. So it will read the existing chart, generate a test suite, generate helmtk code for those templates, run the test command against all the different variations. So run the test suite against the original chart, the generated helmtk code, and the compiled helmtk chart. And it also includes a fuzzer, which can run tests with randomly generated data to get more coverage. helmtk also provides a VS Code extension, so you have nice IDE support, provides syntax highlighting, you can run the tests in the IDE, and you can jump from a a template include to a template definition, and so on. So let's take a look at a demo Helm chart I have here. So we just have a simple helmtk chart. We're defining some ports, and we can run this. We can run the test suite. We can run the eval to evaluate the data directly. And you can see there's a debug port. This might be like if you had a JVM debug port, for example. So we can see if we set debug equals true, we'll now get the debug port. And we could take a look at the test suite here. So let's say we wanted to make the default port, which is 8000. Let's say we wanted to make that configurable. Default port. Well, let's call it a HTTP port. We can add that to our values here. Let's say the default is 8000. Let's write a quick test for it. Test HTTP port. If we set this to 9000, in the test, we can use this test harness to modify the values object for the test, and then we can render the templates and get the first document that comes out of templates, and we can use the equal function to test that the first port is the container port is what we configured it to. And now let's run that test, and we see that it passed. And let's say, just to do a little extra checking, we just set the default port and write a test to make sure that, okay, it defaults to 8000. And if we want to run the full test suite, again, we can just run the test command. And now if we want to if we want to compile the template into Helm, we can run the compile command for this current chart, and here we go. We see that it's generated the corresponding Helm template code to standard out here, and if we wanted to write it out, we could write it to a directory and write it out here and see that. Okay, so let's switch over to look at what the decompiler can do. So here I have the example chart that is generated by the helm create command. So if you were to run helm create example, it would output this chart. So you can see here we have a deployment, we have ingress, we have a service account, we have some helpers. This is, again, the chart that the helm create, the example chart that helm create creates for you. So what you would do to convert this to helmtk is you would run the helmtk decompiler command. And I've already run this, decompile. I've already run this because it can take a while, but looking through the logs, we can see that it finds all of the templates, and it will generate a test suite first for the existing chart. So it will generate all of these tests here. It generates a fairly extensive test suite for the existing chart. And this is to sort of like snapshot the existing behavior to make sure that the generated helmtk matches the behavior of the existing chart. This is a pretty nice test suite. This is a more extensive test suite than I've seen in most Helm charts I've looked at. And then it will generate some helmtk code. So if we look at the helpers file here, this is the helpers file. We can look at the deployment. Okay. And then it will run the test suite against both of these versions. So it's already run it against the original Helm TK version, or the original Helm chart, and then it will run it against the Helm TK version. And then we could, of course, compile this. This is going to output to standard out, but we can, and this would be the generated output. And then one last thing, just to show sort of the IDE support, you can jump here from this to the definition. I think that's super handy, and you get automatic formatting, you get syntax highlighting, you get the ability, as you saw, to run tests in the IDE, which is super useful. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to Helm TK. If you want to check it out, please do try it. Let me know what you think. You can get in touch with me either on GitHub. You can find me on Slack if you find the invite link here in the footer of the website for Slack. You can email me at feedback@helmtk.dev. Come to the install page. It's free for personal and non-commercial use. If you want to use it for commercial purposes and you want to just give it a trial, go ahead and try it out. That's fine. The decompiler, since it uses an LLM to translate Helm charts, it's priced based on tokens used. So you can sign up for that and you can download it here. It's still an early project, so it's got some rough edges, but I'd really appreciate the feedback if you want to give it a try. Okay, thank you.